Certainly proud with the win. Proud of our guys. We got a group that kind of hangs in there and fights and stays together, and we've had to do that a bunch of times this year. So I hats off East Tennessee. They were kind of who I thought they were. I thought they were a pretty complete football team. I think the biggest challenge, obviously, we prepared for 6. They hadn't played in a couple of weeks. 3 didn't play last week. So, they've been down a couple of guys. And, I thought that defensively, other than the run, the first one, the second half, which obviously don't want to have happen. I thought we played exceptionally well defensively. I thought offensively maybe did some things, best things we've done all year. I think the biggest challenge is we just kind of broken record. Maybe we keep leaving points on the field, and I think maybe the biggest drive of the game, in my opinion, might have been the answer after the long run. The first play had a great drive. I think we took it the length of the field and scored, and we kept talking about chasing that point. But again, just find a way to get it done. And certainly the points Keith made. Saw one happen like that to us at Chattanooga. First thing I thought of, after we'd taken the lead in that conference championship game a couple of years ago, and then we were down, we had to come back and rally. So, at halftime, these guys, I was a little ill with our guys. I just thought we spent a bunch of our time in the first half trying to find ways to beat Furman, and lack of discipline at times. And, there's a couple of things didn't go our way, but just hurt ourselves with some false starts, some other penalties. And I kind of at this point, we left a 2-point play. I was pretty good to snap it to the kicker, and it was on an option over there. We got to defend that. And, again, that's coaching. We got to be better there. But just told them, felt like we could win the second half, whatever that was, we win the game. And can't miss short kicks, can't get a punt block. I'm just absolutely total bust. I'm not sure even how hard they were coming after it. For some reason, we just decided not to block the guy that was standing right in front of us. But again, okay. So, just proud of our team. I looked at Coach McCutcheon walking up the hill there to the field house, and he looked at him and said, "Coach, we just need to lead the league in wins." I said, "That's a good way to put it." So we just got to try to find a way to win and regroup, try to go do it again next week. But great win, for us. And again, hats off to them. Coach Healy's done a great job in a short period of time, kind of putting that group together. Again, they're a talented group. It's had some tough losses, and I'm sure that one stings for them too. And been part of one of those. So, but with that, any questions you might have?
Billy, I just wondered, it's easy to get lost in the excitement of the final play of the game, but a pretty big thing play happened a couple months earlier when you brought the touchdown, or what could have been the touchdown. Can you take me through that play and just tell me about it?
That was you? Okay. I didn't know who it was.
Well,
I was trying to look over
there.
I can't see very good. But that was a huge play.
But, from your vantage point, since you're behind, can you tell me about that play? Tell me about the defensive effort in general with that, because that's they got a lot of different weapons they can use. And I know you had 9 tackles today. Just talk about the defensive effort.
Yes, sir. Obviously, the last play is going to be the one that gets seen, but again, Jay Mill made the pick. That was kind of an easy play. A few plays before, it's just take a defensive back play, get the ball out, and then the other game they scored a touchdown right there, and we're down with 30 seconds left. So, that was probably the bigger play on the last play drive that probably get overlooked. And I think defensively, we're just resilient. Just kept setting on the sideline. We got to find a way. Obviously, got ugly at times. Ran up a 75-yard run. Got to be better on the 2-point play, but at the end of the day, just find a way to win it.
Just when that ball went up in the air, how aware of you, were you of where you were and how much real estate was in fact in front?
Honestly, I didn't really realize where I was at, but I knew that when I jumped for the ball, I was gonna get hit, so I was just bracing for the hit. And so all of a sudden, I stayed up and
This is your 3rd close win, and there's a knack to winning.
I think Zach before the last one felt that way too. Last week.
Well,
it was they've all kind of felt that way, but I get you.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, there's a knack to that. I mean, I think that winning teams, I don't think that's ever hardly random. That the experience of pulling a game out is beneficial and builds confidence. And I suspect this is not the last one like that you're gonna play.
Oh no, we know. I think we're gonna have a bunch of games like that one. You're right, Bonnie. And, you know, we got and as I said, you know, we got kind of an unusual group because we got a lot of young guys. You look at our roster, you look at the classes they're in, and yet they're pretty experienced guys. You know, they had their butts knocked around last year, quite a bit, learned from it, and worked hard in the off season, came back, and we certainly had some guys step up and playing certainly more like veterans now. But no, I just think that's how we have to win games. I don't think we're gonna run up and run over. Let's see. I hope that we can, like I said, get a few more points. Now, if we can get some of those points, I think we're leaving out there. That certainly would help things. And so we'll continue to work hard at that.
Welcome. For all you guys, I'm just curious, whoever wants to answer, but what was the perspective from Jordan Miller's 95-yard pick six to see what there? I mean, that had to be a pretty sweet moment to watch on the sideline, yeah?
Well, I'll say this. Did you hit the quarterback? Well, I sit there and look at it, I'm like, how's this not a holding call anyways? Because the guy, I thought the right time kind of tackled us and then we hit him. And, really you went through the whole perspective about what they were going to do. I think it was going to be a 45-yard field goal. I think is what I was looking at. It was 10 seconds. They had a timeout. So, do they take a shot to try to win the game? Or do they try to just get 7, 8, 10 more yards to try to make an easier kick? And then obviously, they were going to try to get it down the field. And then, certainly pressure. We did a really good job pressuring them. We felt like, if we could stop the run and get after the passer, give us a chance. And and again, from my perspective, I'm the little guy on the holding call. Then we hit the quarterback and you see the ball go up. And it was well short. We had 2 guys over there. And then, these guys all know, we teach them to go down. The game's over. Just go down. Don't get tackled, with the ball. And then part of you wants to say run. So no, we'll certainly take it. I don't know, these guys, they're probably in different spots. You had 2 guys that are on the field. Keith was standing over there probably with me, so I don't know what he was thinking.
Well, for those guys who were down there on the field, what was y'all's perspective?
Well, when I hit the quarterback and went down, I was just kind of praying, like, please be an incompletion or something. And I just heard the crowd roar, and I turned around and see J-Mo going down the sideline. I was like, thank goodness.
I just saw the ball thrown in the air, and I saw J-Mo just waiting, and I was just praying he was going to catch it. And then when he caught it, I was just screaming, get down. And then when he didn't get down, I was just praying we didn't have a stupid block or something for the throwing.
Gotcha.
Because they have a good kicker. They were clearly in his range. So, and like I said, you just want to catch it.
And players, I'll start with you guys, but quite the crowd out there today. We talked to some of you guys earlier in the week about family weekend, but if you guys could just touch on maybe having your folks in the crowd and all those other people, and then Coach, if you could answer that afterwards as well, that'd be great.
I thought the turnout was great, especially on those big third downs, hearing them a lot. I think that hopefully it affected their offense and how they operate, and definitely got our juice on the sideline going, hearing the crowd into it the whole game.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Josh said, turnout was great. We needed all the energy that they had. They obviously played a big role in the big third down stop that we had, and the times that the offense needed as well.
Yeah, a few times on those third downs and big plays, that roar, it's not something we've heard much the past year, this year, so it's pretty exciting.
But I'd say too, we should have like that every week. I think it ought to be that way. Our kids kind of deserve that. We want that kind of support. But no, it was great. Everything from, when we come through that student group, when we come over the field, and I thought they were tremendous. Our band is awesome. They're kind of with you there. Regardless of the situation, they stick in there with us, but certainly our fans. That was, that was a big boost today. I mean, a lot of times I guess I got headset on, sometimes I don't notice it, but it was obvious to me today. So, we really appreciate that.
Josh, on the last play of the first half, you got sacked. On that play, the second half, you hit the quarterback, caused a turnover. You had 3 sacks today. It seems like, I mean, obviously you're getting attention by this point. You lead the country in sacks. How do you still break through the holding and get to the quarterback on a consistent basis and big plays especially? Just what's the key to your success today?
I think that's just giving 100% effort every play. You know, even if they are holding you, that's not an excuse to not get to the quarterback. So yeah, I mean, going through practice, working 100% during the week, and then it's easy during the game.
Josh, you guys have affected now 3 wins with a sack or pressure. Can you talk about, like, what is that like? I mean, to have a game on the line and be able to affect the game like that as a defensive line?
Oh yeah, we love it. You know, I've been saying all season, you know, it starts up front, starts up in the trenches. Like the only game that we didn't get a lot of pressure, you know, we didn't win that one. And so I think going to every week thinking, you know, we got to get pressure, got to affect the quarterback, how he throws, you know, get him rattled throughout the game.
Coach, 4 wins, already topped last year's win total. I know you guys felt all along that you were going to be a better football team from the get-go, and I guess you know we're 1 overtime away from being 5-0. All things considered, I mean, looks like obviously your defense has stepped it up a notch or 2. Offense is coming on. You know, just your overall assessment of where your team is right now. I know you're glad to be 4-1. Wish you were 5-0. But most importantly, 2-0 in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, I'd say this. I felt like, you know, with the talent we had, you know, credit our assistant coach. We've done a great job. As I've said, we've done a really good job recruiting in the crazy world of college football, and done a great job of retaining. And in the final phase is developing guys, you know, as players, as young men. I just think they've continued to do that. The biggest thing for me is I feel like we've gotten better every week. I think we did some things as well as we've done them all year. Now we're nowhere near finished product, you know. And me, you know, Coach Sheridan comes out and we got to quit hurting ourselves, you know. And we just can't be that team, you know, that gets false starts and does things that they shouldn't do. No mistakes, and that's the biggest way is you beat yourself. It's turnovers and no mistakes. And, so our best football I still think's ahead of us. You know, you got to stay healthy. You got to be a little lucky. We're down a couple guys in the game. We have some guys step up. You know, I think that's something everybody's going to deal with here going forward, even more so. But I think they come to work. You know, they put in the work, which gives you a chance to go play better, and they're a fun group to go to work with every day. You know, and how they practice, and I think that's the thing that I appreciate most about you when we have at Furman.
In the press box, I'm just sitting there. It's nothing at all like being on the sidelines or being in the stands. But it seemed like I spent the whole first half fretting with this sinking feeling, like whatever can happen will happen. But there comes a point, I think, collectively on the team where you say, well, they're giving us hell, but we got to figure something out. And that's what the second half looked like. Now, you actually had the stats all game long, but it just seemed like you couldn't sustain it. You could move, but you couldn't go all the way down the field. And you know, when that game was there for the taking, I think it was a collective thing. I think that you brought it out. That's a good sign.
Well, I think you gotta, you know, you're sitting there. I just think I got a lot of faith in our defense. You know, when I debated about kicking the field goal, you know, to make it a 2-point game. It was 4th and 3. You know, and again, we didn't run a deep enough route. You know, it's a little thing. It's the difference in make it, not making it. And you know, it felt like either way there was like 8 minutes left. I said, you know, either way, we're gonna have to stop them again on defense. You know, so you go and take the 3, thinking you get stopped. Now you only need it if we're gonna go ahead. But I guess just trusting each other, and then even I said, even if we don't make it here, we're gonna stop and get the ball back.
try to do it before I forget about this. Now look, you're not the greatest rushing team, but today was better. I mean, constables are hard work, or is just things that worked out?
I know we've been close, and again, I'm a guy that's had to change maybe what my expectations are from a numbers kind of standpoint. And I felt like what we did today was really, and probably could have been even better. But I knew we've been really close. We worked really hard at it. And again, you look at them. I didn't think they ran the ball very good. They popped a 75-yard run. And then the quarterback, was a guy that, like, again, we had, we knew that was a possibility. You got a 240-pound guy that can come running downhill off that, and that was a challenge. It's not like you've seen that a lot. They hadn't done a lot of that with him, but obviously that became a big part of their game plan. But again, their inability to sustain it as well, was just kind of the difference. But again, just kind of hang in there, stick together, and find a way.
Last questions for Coach and Keith. You can speak to this. Much has been made about the wide receiver group this year, and obviously it's proven out. But I think there could have been a thinking today of, well, the leader of that pack so far this year is out today. Let's see how they do today. And one of your best rushing days, and you got 10 catches, and get 500 yards of offense without really what's been one of your best offensive players all year. Kind of speak to that performance today.
Yeah, again, depth in that group, depth in that room. We played a lot of guys anyways. It's not like other guys hadn't been productive. So, Keith was 2 weeks in a row, and you get a guy like Nick Regano back who hadn't played all year. Nick was ready to go today. I don't know how much he was in there, but we feel like he's a guy that can help us. And again, I just think that Clyburn stepped up today. Josh has been solid. Jax Pryor wasn't available today to play. We think he's a big time threat out there as well. So I think I saw CJ Nails make a heck of a catch on the third down conversion. So again, I think that's the kind of stuff that's made us better. I think it's helped the running game. Because again, deciding what you want to commit to. And, they were, it was a little bit of their idea was keeping the ball in front of them all day, which I think created some things in the running game. We didn't have quite as many safeties falling down in the box, and they did a good job of mixing up stuff against us. But that's how we got to win games.
Yeah, I just want to thank Coach Dudley for prepping us during the off season, because you never know when your number is going to be called. So just want to thank him and Terry Hayden for just having trust in us and preparing us for this moment and just going out there and executing.
I'll say, and it never even came up. It's Trey. I mean, look at the job he had. I mean, he's a tough dude, and man, he went 36-49, and one pick wasn't a real good decision. I'd rather punted it right there than throwing one down there. But man, just he got hit on the, obviously got hit on the ball that Keith called. But I thought we did a really good job of protecting him for the most part against a talented front. But again, he's done a good job of figuring out his role and how he fits into everything, and I think we're still figuring that out a little bit. So, we're going to enjoy this one, and then we'll come back tomorrow and start to get ready for the next one. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate